I have your attention, I'd like to call the meeting to order for the annual meeting of the Washington County Board of Supervisors on November 21st, 2022. And I'd ask the Supervisor Clary to lead us in prayer, if she would, please.
Dear Father, thank you for everyone being here and giving us this day. This month, we look forward to Thanksgiving and all that means. We thank you, and I have much gratitude for our lives and what we do, our families and our communities. Please help us and
Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In case of fire or other emergency, the three exit rooms there, and there. In case of such emergency, please proceed to the nearest exit, find the nearest stairway, exit the building, and as far away from the building as possible. Emergency rescue spots do their job. If you're in need of assistance to get down the stairs, please contact one of us and we'll help you out getting down. Please silence your cell phones for this meeting. Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor O'Brien. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hankey.
Here.
Mrs. Stedler. Here. Mr. Ferguson.
Here.
Mr. Shaw.
Here.
Mr. Hall.
Here.
Mr. Fisher.
Here.
Mr. Hicks.
Here.
Mr. Nolan.
Here.
Mr. O'Brien.
Here.
Mr. Half.
Here.
Mr. Campbell.
Here.
Mr. Skelly.
Here.
Mr. Hogan.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mrs. Clary. Here. Mr. Griffith.
Here.
Mr. Roselle.
We will now have the public hearing for the 2023 tentative budget. And the clerk will read the notice, please.
Notice of public hearing on tentative budget. Notice is hereby given that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Washington will hold a public hearing in the Supervisors' Chambers, Washington County Office Building B, Fort Edward, New York, at 10:05 a.m. on the 21st day of November, 2022, for the purpose of hearing all concerned persons regarding the tentative budget of said county for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2023. Pursuant to Section 359 of the county law, the maximum salaries that may be fixed and payable during said fiscal year to members of the Board of Supervisors, Chairman and Vice Chairman thereof, and Budget Officer respectively are hereby specified as follows. Members of the Board of Supervisors, $22,669. Chairman of the Board of Supervisors, $38,342. Vice Chairman of the Board of Supervisors, $28,277, and Budget Officer, $40,788. Please take further notice that a copy of the 23 tentative budget is available on the county website or by contacting the Washington County Board of Supervisors office by order of the Board of Supervisors dated November 3rd, 2022.
That's all we need to do it now, right?
Pardon me?
That's all we want to do it.
You can open the public hearing.
Okay. So the public hearing has been opened on the tentative budget. Is there anyone that has any comments that they'd like to make regarding the tentative budget for 2023? Is there anyone who'd like any comments or input on the 2023 tentative budget? And we'll ask one more time if there is. Is there any interest, comments, suggestions, recommendations for the 2023 Washington County budget? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing at 10:07. Thank you. The condensed minutes for the October 21st and November 1st meetings are accepted as mailed unless there are any additional additions or corrections. Does anyone have any additional corrections or comments on those? Seeing none, we will move on to the communications.
Communications from Fulton County. We are in receipt of their resolution number 382 objecting to New York State officials' recent legislation that restricts citizens' Second Amendment rights. That's all I have for communications.
Okay, thank you. COVID-19 update. Tim Hardy, please.
Morning, everybody. Just a brief update on our status as of today, 37 active cases. This is the second week in a row that our active cases that are known to public health are under 40. Our 7-day average test percentage is 3.6. Current hospitalizations are 3, so the numbers are dropping. The only thing public health just wants to remind everyone as we continue to get ready to get together for Thanksgiving and the holidays ahead, please be mindful if you're ill to try and stay home or wear a mask around others. COVID is not the only thing out there right now. Certainly there's been cases in RSV, the flu, and a regular common cold. Vaccinations are continuing every week at Public Health on Wednesday by appointment only, and we have one new booster clinic to announce, the Middle Falls Fire Department on the 2nd of December from 10 to 12:30 by appointment. That information is up on the website. Other than that, they are continuing their regular efforts, and that's all I have.
Anyone have any questions? Supervisor Haft.
Tim, in these statistics, 37 active cases, 3 hospitalized, thank God no deaths. Do you know of those statistics, what portion are vaccinated, what portion are not vaccinated?
I do not.
That'd be kind of interesting because I heard that your chance of getting it is just as good if you're vaccinated or not.
I don't have the numbers. I can see if I can find that out for you. It's becoming inherently more difficult to track as the systems change, and certainly we're seeing people get it 2 and 3 times after vaccination or not vaccinated. If I can get those numbers, I'll get them.
It'd be interesting. Thank you.
Committee reports. Audit report, please.
Mr. Chairman, I move the audit report and recommend the board authorize the treasurer to pay the bills.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Yes. Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Ferguson. Any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Mortgage tax warrant.
Move the mortgage tax warrant.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have second? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. And then the equalization report.
Move the equalization report.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have any second? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler. Is there any Supervisor Ferguson? Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. And now we're going to have the introduction of our,
Dan, can I ask?
yes.
I'm sorry,
Sure.
I should.
No, that's okay.
We still have towns here that are not at 100%. What did that take care of when we had some towns do the reval?
Laura, can you answer that, please?
I know I was 100% last year and 90% this year.
I'm talking about a town like Easton that was 2%, but.
Yeah, they're 100.
Right, but shouldn't everybody be?
No, because the equal value is based on time. So some towns can do a reval this year, their equalization will be less, or can be higher.
Or if you do it every year like Hartford.
And then you can maintain 100.
Right.
And we
Okay,
just got
so
our gold start.
Previous to this, the equalization rate column would have had percentages for the towns, right?
In some cases, yes.
Sorry,
So
thank you.
6 towns in the reval were,
What were those 6 towns?
Dresden, Easton, Fort Edward, Jackson, Salem, and White Creek. That's
Going north and south. You said Cambridge?
No, Aidsbury. No,
Dresden, Easton, Fort Edward, Salem, White Creek, or
Jackson.
Jackson, thank you.
And these do vary. The equalization rates are established by New York State Office of Real Property Tax Services, Tax and Finance. And, we just got our PDC numbers for this year. And there's anywhere from a 6 to a 12% change in equalization rates coming forward for this upcoming cycle. Even the towns that did revals last year may not remain at 100%. The assessors have to work those numbers. I'm not sure where everybody sits at this point, but those were just released on Friday. So we'll see how that all plays out.
Yeah, Laura, when the state does the reval every year, do they do it within each town individually, or will they take, like, Southern Washington County, will they use that for their basis for those towns down there?
When the states established the
equalization rates. They base it on, market value areas, and the market value areas, there's 4 or 5 of them, and actually, I just had that on my desk, in Washington County. So like, Dresden, Putnam, Fort Ann are in the same market value.
Okay,
You know,
that's
so
not.
it is, and actually, they do kind of have it based on North. They used to have, you know, Hampton was down with Hebron, but now they do kind of have it,
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions, equalization for Laura? Thank you, Laura. Okay. We will now do the introduction of the local laws, and we have 4 of them. Yep, please.
Introductory Local Law E of 2022, County of Washington, New York, introduced by Mr. Hogan. Title, a local law establishing a rate schedule of charges for the discharge of sewage into the Washington County Sewer District Number 1 sewerage system and all sewers tributary thereto for the fiscal year 2023. Introductory Local Law F of 2022, County of Washington, New York, introduced by Mr. Fisher. Title, a local law establishing a rate schedule of charges for the discharge of sewage into the Washington County Sewer District Number 2 sewerage system and all sewers tributary thereto for the fiscal year 2023. Introductory Local Law G of 2022, County of Washington, New York, introduced by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feathers, Kelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith. Title, a local law providing for the salaries of the county administrator, county attorney, commissioner of social services, superintendent of public works, sheriff, county clerk, county treasurer, director of real property tax services, coroners, election commissioners, personnel officer for calendar year 2023. Introductory Local Law H of 2022, County of Washington, New York, introduced by Supervisors O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Wilson, Fisher. A local law pursuant to New York Civil Practice Law and Rules, Section 80214A2, providing for an increase in fees for recording, entering, indexing, and endorsing a certificate on any instrument.
Thank you, Deb. We will now have supervisor's privilege of the floor. Does any supervisor have privilege of the floor that'd like to? Yes, sir.
Like 5 minutes for this.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I put in hearing aids this time, so
Okay.
listen a little better. And although I was here last Friday and I lost one, so it cost me $1,200 to come here with me. Update on the transfer station, once again, it was closed. Towpath Road was open. We had an election. Did anybody run for election?
Not this time.
Oh.
No, they'll come up next year. We'll all be up next year.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulate, but I'll do it anyway. Thank you for your service and for your service until next time.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you,
all.
sir. Have a good Thanksgiving.
You too.
We will now move on to our introductions of resolutions, please. And we're going to need a motion to set aside your rules of resolution number 273.
So,
Moved by Bob Henke, supervised by Cassie Feller, Brad Campbell, Supervisor Wilson, any others? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 273 by Supervisor Campbell, title to approve sale of land. Resolved that the sale of land to persons named and for the amount specified be and the same is hereby approved, and be it further resolved, the county treasurer of this county, on receipt of full payment for same and verification that each bidder has complied with the rules of the auction by having no delinquent taxes on record as of this date, execute and deliver quitclaim deeds to said persons for land each agreed to so purchase.
Resolution 241.
Resolution number 241 by Supervisor Hogan, titled to re-levy unpaid sewer district number 1 user fees.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution 241
Moved by Supervisor Hogan, do we have a second? Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Hanky. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 242 by Supervisor Fisher, titled to relevy unpaid sewer district number 2 user fees.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 242. Moved by Supervisor Fisher, do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson, and Supervisor Nolan. Any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 243 by Supervisor Hogan, titled to reassess unpaid water rents, Town of Kingsbury.
Chairman, moving resolution number 243, please.
Moved by Supervisor Hogan, do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 244 by Supervisor Hicks, titled to reassess unpaid water rents, Town of Granville.
Moving 244.
Moved by Supervisor Hicks. Seconds, please. Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson, and Supervisor Nolan. Supervisor Clary as well. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 245 by Supervisor Fisher, titled to reassess unpaid water rents, Town of Fort Edward.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 245. Moved by Supervisor Fisher. You have seconds, please. Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Nolan. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 246 by Supervisor Ferguson, titled to reassess unpaid sewer number 1 and 2 user fees, Town of Dresden.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 246.
Moved by Supervisor Ferguson. Do we have seconds, please? Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 247 by Supervisor Wilson, titled reassess unpaid sewer 1 and 2 user fees, Town of Putnam.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 247.
Moved by Supervisor Wilson. Do we have seconds, please? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 248 by Supervisor Clary, titled to relevy unpaid water rents, Town of Salem.
Chairman, moving resolution number 248.
Moved by Supervisor Clary. Seconds, please. Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Campbell, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 249 by Supervisor Hogan, titled set time and place for a public hearing on introductory local law E of 2022.
Chairman, moving resolution number 2, please.
Moved by Supervisor Hogan. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 250 by Supervisor Fisher, titled set time and place for a public hearing on introductory local law F of 2022.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 250.
Moved by Supervisor Fisher. Do we have seconds, please? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 251 by Supervisors Griffith, Campbell, Hicks, O'Brien, Shaw, Skelly, title set time and place for a public hearing on parcels requesting inclusion in certified agricultural districts.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution 251.
Moved by Supervisor Griffith. Do we have seconds, please? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 252 by Supervisors Clary, Campbell, Skelly, Wilson, title appoint member to the Washington County Community Services Board.
Chairman, moving resolution number 252, please.
Moved by Supervisor Clary. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor Wilson, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 253 by Supervisors Skelly, Rotel, O'Brien, Fedler, Shaw, Ferguson, Wilson, Fisher, title authorizing agreement between the County of Washington and the County of Warren for the removal of snow and salting sanding to control ice on paved Warren County roads for 2023.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 253.
Moved by Supervisor Skelly. Do we have second? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Haft.
My perennial comment that the word sand is in here, even though we do not apply sand at the county.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 254 by Supervisors O'Brien, Haft, Hicks, Wilson, Fisher, titled to set public hearing on introductory local law H of 2022, a local law pursuant to New York Civil Practice Law and Rules Section 80214A2, providing for an increase in fees for recording, entering, indexing, and endorsing a certificate on any instrument.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 254.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien. Do we have seconds, please? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion?
Of course.
Supervisor Haft.
In committee, this was a particular instrument, right? This is when a bank would foreclose on somebody. But this kind of says any instrument. I thought we were only going to add a fee to that one thing. Or is this something different?
At committee, it was discussed. Liz Pendon?
Yes.
I don't know. Somebody else has to answer.
Yeah.
Stephanie here.
Steph, you're here? Can you answer that for us?
I would say about 98% of our foreclosure actions are bank-related. There's very few that are individual mortgagees that do a foreclosure on somebody,
Okay, but when it says,
other than our treasurer.
but when it says recording, entering, indexing, endorsing a certificate on any instrument, are those the only things that have a certificate? Could this be vaguely lots of other things?
No. No, it's strictly on the, notice of pendency
But it doesn't say
document.
that anywhere. Doesn't say that anywhere here, so I'm wondering by adopting this, are we adopting something that could be used on a different other kind of instrument? Wasn't our intention?
No, this was brought to, Roger's attention. We actually, had asked several other county clerks for their guidance in how their, law was written. And this is how it was drawn up from Roger to cover what our intent was.
Can we add the word Liz Pendon to this?
I don't think you need,
Well,
I think the law gives it specificity.
So you think it's in the law?
Yeah, I think the section law is really 2148.
Sorry, I did not bring that with me.
Thank you. Okay.
all set? Okay. So let's see, we had the discussion. Did we? I had the seconds right there?
Yep.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 255 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Haft, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Rotel, Griffith, title amend budget buildings and grounds for office furniture for public defender.
Moving resolution number 255, and before Dana half-assed, this is more than just one chair.
They can have mine, it's back there somewhere.
All right, do we have seconds to the motion, please? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fendler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Sam, could I abstain?
Yes, Supervisor Holden would like to abstain.
Resolution number 256 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, title, amend budget Sewer District Number 2 for auto, fuel, and personal services.
Moving resolution number 256.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Seconds from Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fendler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Skelly, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 257 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, title, amend Sewer District Number 2 budget for consultants for Speedy's permit schedule of compliance items.
Moving resolution number 257.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fendler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 258 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, title, amend Sewer District Number 2 budget for Route 197 Force Main Replacement Project.
Moving resolution number 258.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell, seconded by Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fendler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 259 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, title, amend budget capital project number 114, Sewer District Number 2, long-term control plan.
Moving resolution number 259.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fendler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 260 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, title, to amend carpool fund for increased fuel costs.
Moving resolution number 260.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fendler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 261 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, title, to amend carpool fund for purchase of buildings and grounds trucks.
Moving resolution number 261.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Seconds, please. Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fendler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 262 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, title, to raise mileage reimbursement rate effective January 1, 2023.
Moving resolution number 262.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Second, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fendler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 263 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, title, amend capital project number 125, capital improvement plan for Vailment trailer demolition.
Moving resolution number 263.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds, please? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fendler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 264 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, title amend budget, Youth Bureau for additional runaway and homeless youth funding.
Moving resolution number 264.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Seconds, please. Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 265 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, title to award bid 2022-29, law enforcement equipment and amend budget.
Moving resolution number 265.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Half, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 266 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, title official newspaper designation Democrat.
Moving resolution number 266.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds, please? Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Do we have any discussion? Supervisor Half.
Every year I say this, every year I'm completely ignored. I'm going to say it again. I would like to amend this to remove the word Democrat. I second that. Thank you, Jim.
We have a second?
And replace the word Democrat with political. That way it may stay within the law, except where it says the majority of the Democrat members, if you would say political members, would be majority of members of the Board of Supervisors. And as the official political newspaper, then again at the resolve, designate the official political newspaper. You understand that, Deb?
We don't know if it's legal, it's a problem.
But Roger says there's right, wrong, and legal. This is wrong and legal. So let's be right for once.
But you still gotta be legal.
No, you don't. You know what, if anybody has a problem, send them to my house. So that's my amendment, that we remove the word Democrat through there, and then where it's appropriate, we put political, like the official political newspaper.
What's the other one gonna be?
Excuse me?
What's the other one gonna be, apolitical?
Are you doing it for the next resolution, Dan?
Yes, I am.
So we're gonna have two political newspapers?
Yes.
You have three if you want. I just don't know if it's legal.
Right, yeah, there is a section of county law, section 214, that, explains.
But Debbie, I don't care.
Okay, yeah.
I understand that, but I don't care.
Okay, so the Board of Elections. Tom, do you have something on that?
We have to alter the legal ad election.
Well, ours is just a Whitehall Times, so I guess you guys have always, ours has always been, since I started in '99, ours has always been the Whitehall Times.
I thought every year
That was your
switched.
resolution when I first started.
So we have.
My amendment fixes that.
In the lower end, you switch to Republican papers,
Yeah,
but you never switch
Right.
to.
We got a second.
Well, the resolution for the Republican was always, what you guys switched put that paper in each election. And ours was always the Whitehall Times.
Supervisor Shaw was next, and then we'll go to Supervisor Hicks.
Yes, I don't disagree with what Dana is saying, but I think after hearing what Jeff and Thomas said, it's gotta tie in to our political system, which we have a Republican and a Democrat commissioner. And I think you need to have those papers designated for the system to work, although I totally agree with you.
I've bet in many towns, the independents outnumber either Republican Party or the Democrat Party. This is ancient stuff.
Supervisor Hicks.
State legislature.
Supervisor Hicks.
Well, our paper.
Hampton, just as a point of information, back in the day, when I was younger, the Whitehall Times was run by Mr. Roach, and the
something was run by Mr. Manchester, and et cetera, et cetera. That doesn't, the Eagle is different, but that's no longer the case. They're rolled together, then they're rolled up in New York Vermont Media, which is a much bigger media organization, so, well, it's not an independent newspaper anymore, it's part of a bigger corporation, so. Kind of lends into data, it's sort of irrelevant to name them, you should name New York Vermont Media or whatever that holding company is that covers all that.
you add an amendment onto my amendment?
I think that's, because I can't even give your amendment straight, I don't want to confuse it any further.
My amendment is just to remove the word Republican and Democrat from these next two, but I'm gonna do the next one
After this one, because I can't commingle two resolutions.
Okay, so we do have an amendment, we do have a second to that amendment, is that correct? Okay. Is there any seconds to that amendment? All right, is there further discussion? All in favor of the amendment? Sigmund, let's do a roll call on the amendment,
Please.
so we can.
You're thinking unity, right, they wipe away these, nomenclature, bring us all together, so we're one big group, designated.
It disenfranchises anybody that's not a Republican or Democrat.
We have Kumbaya Inc.
Gives them two different newspapers to read.
Prepare it ahead of time for next year, so you're all prepared.
Why, you say no every year anyway, you know it's coming, when you read this in the packet, you knew exactly what was coming.
But there's no lawyer here.
So what? I acknowledge this goes against the law, so Roger would say that. I acknowledge that, I'm not arguing. I drove 56 here today a couple places, so that's one against the law.
Mr. Hanky,
No.
Ms. Fedler,
No.
Mr. Ferguson,
I'm gonna go with Dana with a yes.
Yay!
Mr. Shaw,
Abstain.
First time that ever happened.
I agree with him, but I won't vote for that.
Mr. Hall,
Chicken.
No.
Mr. Fisher,
No.
Mr. Hicks,
Or.
Mr. Nolan. No. Mr. O'Brien,
No.
Mr. Hack,
Yes.
Mr. Campbell,
No.
Mr. Scully,
No.
Mr. Hogan,
Eh.
Mr. Wilson,
No.
Clary. No. Mr. Griffith,
I just wanna say, Dana, if this doesn't pass, I'm not falling around in the second resolution.
Or you give up easy.
Yes.
The amendment is defeated, 1,004 yes, 3,164 no, 332 absent.
Did we get Mr.
Oh, I didn't get Mr. Nolan.
Ms. Nolan?
Yes, I did.
We get you?
Yes, I did. Yeah,
You vote?
yeah, he voted.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the Democrats are gonna vote yes on the next one.
We had, that's a fail, I'm sorry.
It was defeated.
Okay. All right. So that's the amendment. So now we're back up to the original motion. Resolution. We have that, Supervisor Campbell passed that. Did we take the vote on that before we got to discussion, or we didn't get that far? We had the amendment come up.
Yeah, we've had to introduce second, an amendment defeated, so now we're on to further discussion and vote.
Okay. So is there any further discussion on resolution number 266? Oh, none? Okay, all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Carried.
Resolution number 267 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, title official newspaper designation Republican.
Moving number 267. Moved. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Hanky. Supervisor Clary. Okay.
Yep.
Is there any discussion? Supervisor Hack.
I would like to amend this resolution where we remove the word Republican and substitute political.
Do we have a second?
Yep.
Seeing no seconds, it goes down, and we go back up to the resolution. So we have seconds on the resolution?
Request a roll call,
You did,
please.
yes. You may.
So you abstained because you agreed with me. That's crazy. But it was wrong.
And I voted yes because of that. I'm a Republican, and you've got a both side where Democrat agreeing on something, and I had to support that.
Is that gonna be your dress code?
May
You
never
gotta wear
see that
both
again.
hats? Find me a Christmas one, Jim.
I got one with snowflakes on it.
Probably like
Oh.
this big.
That set me up for that. Surprised.
All right, here we go.
All right, voting on resolution number 267. Mr. Hanky?
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes?
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Haff?
No.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Skelly?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Clary? Yes. Mr. Griffith?
Nay.
Resolution is adopted, 3,904 yes, 454 no, and 332 absent. Resolution number 268 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, titled Supplemental Mortgage Tax Disbursement.
Moving number 268. Do we have seconds? Moved by Supervisor Campbell. We have seconds by Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 269 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Griffith, titled Resolution Adopting the Budget for Fiscal Year 2023, Making Appropriations for the Conduct of County Government.
Moving resolution number 269. Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? And we will take a roll call vote. Supervisor Half, I think you burned the machine up the last time was on.
Now it's,
That's my problem with those political newspapers, that those are machines, right? Democrat machines.
Sam, point of reference.
Yes, sir.
Is there a roll call required for passing the budget? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's,
Same with the minute.
no, I've got it. Just, we're gonna take for Peter Bryan in that, huh?
At least one.
You're the closest target, Dan.
Yes.
It's, they're all set up except for when you throw do one on an amendment and I go over one I've got in there. I'm just trying to make sure we keep track of what we do have.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Hanky, I apologize.
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Hicks.
Yes.
Mr. Nolan.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Mr. Haff.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Skelly.
Yes.
Mr. Hogan.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mrs. Clary. Yes. Mr. Griffith.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted, 4,358 yes, 332 absent. Resolution number 270 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, titled to adopt the non-union grade schedule for 2023.
Moving resolution number 270. Moved by Supervisor Campbell, seconds please. Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say with saying aye.
That's a roll call, too.
Oh, that's roll call, I apologize.
Mr. Henke.
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Hicks.
Yes.
Mr. Nolan.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Mr. Haff.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Skelly.
Yes.
Mr. Hogan.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mrs. Clary. Yes. Mr. Griffith.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted, 4,358 yes, 332 absent. Resolution number 271 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, titled Set Time and Place for a Public Hearing on Introductory Local Law G of 2022.
Moving resolution 271. Moved by Supervisor Campbell, seconds please. Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 272 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Roselle, Griffith, title Established Salary Schedule for Exempt, Stipend, Seasonal, and Per Diem Employees.
Moving resolution number 272. Moved by Supervisor Campbell, seconds please. Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, aye? Aye. This is a roll call too.
Mr. Henke.
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Hicks.
Yes.
Mr. Nolan.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Mr. Haff.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Skelly.
Yes.
Mr. Hogan.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mrs. Clary. Yes. Mr. Griffith.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted, 4,358 yes, 332 absent. Resolution number 273 by Supervisor Campbell, titled to approve sale of land.
Moving resolution 273. Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Griffith, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Have a quick. Start with Supervisor Shaw, and then we'll come over to Supervisor Hack.
Just curious, this isn't budgeted money, right? What happens to this if we accept these two? That's what I wanted to hear.
Fund balance.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Hack, do you have a question?
This is about a third of what we normally take it as a profit. In some years it's $450,000. Kind of interesting, especially how we haven't had it for years. And a question for maybe Al would know this the most. Al, are any of these properties primary residences of citizens?
Some of these will be owner occupied, Mr. Half, I don't specifically know each of the parcels. Any of them that are 210 residential, are potentially owner occupied. They are not all, but I couldn't tell you, I don't go visit every auction property for obvious reasons, so. And I will note, of interest, that the surplus over our liens would have actually looked very different this morning had we not pulled some of the, properties. There was 7 or 8 that filed bankruptcy during the auction process, and 4 of them are into us for about $400,000. So the morning that they filed bankruptcy, their bids were only at $10,000. So had those 4 auction properties that filed bankruptcy actually crossed the finish line, this resolution will look drastically different. But it would have gotten the properties back on the roll. So, yeah, things are a little subjective when you look at the bottom line.
You're suggesting that might not even cover the cost of the administration at that point?
I don't know that this cost covers the cost of the administration. This what we call surplus over our lien, does not factor in the 5 years that we've been going through the enforcement and the mailing charges. It costs me about $10,000 a year just to mail the certified letters out. So there's a lot of things that you don't see in that bottom line number, but it just reflective of what we received over what we were owed. Mr. O'Brien.
So, a lot of these properties were out for 5 years, so the taxes and penalties are accrued a lot more than normal, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir.
So, have you thought about the next auction, whether you still want to online or in person?
I will be discussing that with the board. I think that the online auction gives a lot more people an opportunity to participate that maybe couldn't be there on a one-day event. So we'll have some conversations. I've always worked with the board, and I'll continue to do that. We'll talk about the pros and cons, because there was some cons, and we'll see how we want to proceed for next year. The biggest thing I think is this time of year is absolutely terrible to do this. People that bid on the auction properties and stuff have to now wait for us to turn around the deeds. There's 69 of them to do, and meanwhile, the properties that are not occupied, they run the risk of, bursting pipes, and, they can't secure their investment in the property they just bought until we close on it. So there's another 3 or 4 weeks before they can enter these properties legally. And, I think that something earlier in the year, maybe we used to do it in June, which I think maybe is too early. But we'll discuss it. It probably won't be October next year. It might be sometime in the June, July, August timeframe would be my best guess, but we'll have a conversation about that.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Al.
Thank you all.
Okay, we'll go on to a roll call, please.
Mr. Hanky?
Yes.
Mrs. Sedler? Yes. Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Half?
No.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Skelly?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Clary? Yes. Mr. Griffith?
Yes.
It's adopted, 4,175 yes, 183 no, 332 absent.
Thank you, and that's the last one, I believe. So we've completed the consideration of resolutions, now we move on to supervisors' comments. Do any of the supervisors have any comments they'd like to make? Supervisor Happ.
John Roselle from Whitehall is not here, so I was gonna ask him how that, photo opportunity went up to Whitehall with the governor that we rescheduled the meeting from, that was supposed to be on the 18th. How did that go?
Very well, came off without a hitch.
Oh, all right, that's one. Did you enjoy shaking hands with the governor?
I didn't go.
You do realize that was your schedule for, we think, December first, right?
So we rescheduled the county meeting for an event that did not happen? Yeah?
Okay, yeah,
So it's in December 1st?
as we know now, Dana. Yes. Yes, Supervisor Campbell.
So a couple of things. First of all, I'm glad that Dana acknowledged it didn't happen. We moved the meeting for something that didn't happen. But in the grand scheme of things, hopefully it won't interfere with a meeting in the future. And I think we do need to realize it is an important event for our county, even though moving the meeting didn't do any good because it didn't happen. But I hope this way there won't be any reason for anyone to not attend when it does come off. I think it's a big moment. Thank Dave O'Brien for helping put that together and all the towns involved, including Dave. So, treats for that. The second thing, and more importantly, I want to talk about, I want to thank everybody for supporting the budget and getting it passed this time. There's a lot of important things in there. The biggest one is probably trying to address the carpool and get that rate back where it belongs so that we can buy cars in the future, and we'll probably be back discussing the size of the carpool and all those things going forward because the price of everything is so much higher than it was, and trying to fund it, how we fund that. It's going to be an interesting discussion. Also, I want you to keep in mind that the cap is still 2% or the rate of inflation. If you remember, it was just a couple years ago, and it's hard for anyone to believe, we passed the budget at 1.5% because that was the limit. Now it's 8%, and that's far from our memories, but that's kind of where the cap actually makes you go to the limit just because. But when those times come, it really does a job on you, and the only way to take care of it is to raise the cap level on the times that are like now. But it's not something we sincerely want to do, and we're well under the cap at this point. We shouldn't go to the limit, but we went to the maximum carry forward, so there's nothing that we would lose off the table in next year if we had to actually go to this rate again. But thanks so much to everyone. You don't know how much work goes into this throughout the year, just the research and figuring out where things need to go and we need to be. And the other part is that there's funding for all things. Some things we don't like, some things we won't vote for. But there's a way to find that funding and use it for things you would like and would do, kind of like Hudson Valley Agribusiness does for us, the way they'll take a grant for something and make it work for agriculture. Well, some of these grants we can make work for us, and our department has done that throughout the year. It made it work to buy cars where there was never money for cars before. There's all sorts of those opportunities, and we're going to have to really look at things as to where it's going. The things we can't control, we cannot control. And we have to live with that fact and live within our means and vote for the things that we can control that will make a difference for our communities. That's the way we can help them out.
Thank you, Supervisor Campbell. Anyone else? Supervisor Griffin?
And a couple of things. I wanted to first congratulate the Country Gal Cafe. They're the best of Washington County 2022, 2 years in a row, best breakfast in Washington County. As I said last year, bring it.
Where is it?
It's in the village of Cambridge, which falls in the town of White Creek. I also want to say congratulations to the Cambridge-Salem football team. I know I'm stealing this from Sue. Hard-fought defensive battle against Section 5 opponent Alexander last night. They play this Friday against Mariah in the state semifinals game down in Middletown. And then third, I wanted to please keep Cheyenne Wolf in your prayers. Shy has been diagnosed with leukemia. She is in remission. She has her first consultation down at Sloan Kettering next Monday. Thank you.
Go with you.
Anyone else? Supervisor Hanky.
Wanted to comment that the big game hunting season is open in southern zone and most of Washington County. And like to point out that hunting is the safest sport that there is. One year in New York State, we had more people killed by donkeys than we had killed in hunting accidents. Every year, we have more people hospitalized per day skiing than we do per year hunting. And to lose track of that simple fact when we get talking about hunting and talking about firearms regulations, that sort of thing, I'd like to exhort people to keep it that way. For 90% of the time, 90% of the accidents occur when there's an illegal act going on. When something illegal, and that's when the hunting accidents occur. I'd also like to remind the hunters to be a little careful. We've got a lot of new laws affecting you this year. For example, if you leave your car at the gas pumps at Stewart's and go in to buy a cup of coffee, that firearm has to be in a fireproof case, even though this can be a plastic case. Not sure how that works, but nevertheless, and point out that there's some things coming down the pike we're going to have to keep our eye on. They're trying very hard to make it illegal to purchase ammo online or through the mail, have it delivered to your house. It's almost impossible to get certain types of, especially waterfall ammo, because it's just too expensive for local places to stock it. So it's an issue coming up, and it's going to be, happening probably in this first legislative session. So we have to keep our eye on it. But everybody, good luck and be careful.
Brent?
Yes, Mr. Henke, are more deer shot by hunters or killed by road cars or vehicles?
Annually more by roads, but, during the hunting, actually the biggest number of crashes happen in the fall, because the bucks are changing territories and running around and chasing things. And
They shouldn't cross.
Dan got one this morning,
Dan's wife got one this morning.
I almost got one last night. I would remind people to look not at the deer crossing the road, but where they came from. So I'm running across the road last night on my way home, and I came almost to a stop, and sure enough, the buck came tearing right behind her. Had I maintained my speed, would have run right inside the car. So, and it depends. There's areas in the state where it's police are handling a car deer accident a day.
Go to Supervisor Half, and I think Supervisor, put your hand up, and then Supervisor Nolan. Supervisor Half.
To follow up on what Bob was talking about deer hunting, there's a citizen in Bob's town, Mr. Still, that runs a composting facility for dead cows and things, and he has graciously put on Facebook that he will take your deer offal, guts, hide, whatever you have, and he'll take that free of charge so that you don't dump it in the backwoods or somebody's property. But if you take it there, he will accept it free of charge. And I think it's called Tamarack Compost.
Tamarack composting.
Thank you, Dana. Supervisor Clary.
I just wanted to thank Laura Oswald and Jim Grip for the Airbnb, event that we had. Well attended, a lot of great questions, a lot of good discussion, and it was short-term rentals, and it went off very well. With 30, so.
Oh, between 30 and 40 people there. Yeah, it was a good event, good first time event.
Yeah. So great job to both of them. The other thing is the Salem has a Christmas parade on Saturday at 1 o'clock, so between the football teams and there's a lot of parades going on, and it's very exciting. It's fun to watch the youth have their day.
Yes.
So,
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Supervisor Nolan.
I'd like to congratulate the Greenwich Chamber of Commerce, the Cambridge Greenwich Police Department, and the Village of Greenwich DPW conducting a very successful lighted tractor parade. Estimated over 10,000 people were there, over 75 lighted tractors, lasted over 2 hours long. Very, very successful event for the Village of Greenwich and the town of Greenwich.
Thank you, Jim. Now, I'd like to personally wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. If you're going somewhere, please travel safe, and if your loved ones are traveling in, hopefully they make it here safely as well. I would like to take this opportunity to commend the Board of Supervisors for the budget. I would like to commend the department heads for their assistance in that, and our county administrator for her assistance in that. At this day, when civil discourse is running rampant. We were able to still put our budget together and, do it in a civil manner. Although some of us had, strong convictions or whatever it might have been, we were able to do the budget process without, making a mockery out of the system. And for that, we should all be commended for the job that you did, and thank you very much. Taxpayers of Washington County believe that kind of behavior. And you demonstrated that, you're all very creditable, honorable people. So thank you very much. After no further comments, we will go to...
Sam, just one other thing.
Yeah, Bob?
After the meeting, the supervisors came.
Here we go.
10 days ago.
Okay.
It was in the Republican newspaper.
We are now in recess.
You're all right, We're now in recess.
Now in recess until December 16th, 2022. Thank you, everyone.